Thank you for coming today, Nick and Helena. What I would like to ask you, there's many couples who at one point in time are unfaithful. And this is something that's quite common. A lot of people think that's the end of the relationship. What is your experience working with couples where one has been unfaithful? Or sometimes both, I presume.
Want to start?
Not necessarily.
I think the first thing that comes for us is that we think that when there's an affair, that we like to think about it as a third element coming into the relationship. And the third element comes in the relationship for a reason. And the effect of the third element coming in is what usually dominates the couple. And because the effect can be, it's as if one of them is trying to kill off the relationship.
On the other side?
Yeah.
Or
because
between them?
Between them. Because, and it's a blow to the relationship. It's an attempt to kill it. So the relationships don't always recover from it. And there's always a wound.
But because in the act of having an affair, it is a betrayal of a relationship. At one level, there is a betrayal of a commitment to being alone and to not go outside. Yeah. So that element of the betrayal of something is always something you have to deal with first. Acknowledge it at least, not deal with it, but you have to acknowledge the fact that something has been betrayed at an emotional level. Yeah.
So one of the ways we work is we were interested to think, well, what are the other ways that they could have brought a third element in? It's as if the relationship needs something more, and one way could be coming into couple therapy, where the therapist becomes a third element, and then we might ask sometimes, well, what other third elements are there? We might discover that one of them is having, as it were, an affair with their work.
Yeah.
And so something else comes in to balance this out. It's already a third. Or that one of the partners, for example, is in a very intimate relationship with a therapist already. And it's almost like having an affair. But so we look at those third elements, but because the boundary of a couple is generally the sexual one, it's like something very serious happens to the relationship. In terms of the structure of the relationship is really injured. And can the couple recover? So trust gets broken. So the first thing is, how do the couple reestablish trust?
So first thing, you acknowledge the betrayal, and then you look at the trust.
Well, I think our term, we will look at the betrayal, but the first thing for us is to be curious in relation to the third elements. Is, why didn't you come to couple therapy? Because if your relationship needed something more, instead of which you brought somebody else in. So
the first thing is that we would acknowledge the sense of betrayal. We would acknowledge that there's something at a level of trust that has been seemingly broken. But we would also acknowledge and be curious about what it is that the relationship needed in order to bring that third element in. It's almost like you have a chair and there's only two legs on it, and the relationship somehow needs to bring a third in to stabilize something. So that's when we start looking at actually what was happening leading up to the affair.
Yeah.
An affair never happens just out of the blue.
When a person attempts suicide, it's common that people say now, oh, this is a cry for help. And you could say in some ways And if you can imagine that a relationship is a being also, that the couple create, it's like a suicidal tendency. It's like a cry for help. So it needs something more. And you see, one of the things we often see is once there's been an affair, I don't say it's a good thing, but sometimes that's the first time a couple really start talking honestly to each other and really deeply about what's working and not working, and before they were not able to. So it brings another level, something that it kills what relationship they had. And we're always interested in couple therapists to see is there something else trying to get reborn, where the relationship is broader, deeper, wider.
So you're saying the third element comes in when the way the couple is together isn't working.
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
In one way or another.
In one way or the other, which sometimes is not clear to neither partner until the affair happens, and then they become aware of actually how many things they had never spoken about before.
Yeah.
And this brings it out to the front to deal with it. And they may not have been able to do that in any other way. So what comes inevitably when there is a couple that's presenting and there's one of the partners that had an affair, the inevitable thing is that the partner who feels betrayed is angry, come in and they want us as couple therapists to condone the situation and make the person say sorry and apologize for it. Kind of actually make the person who had the affair the bad one, the guilty one. Yeah? And that is understandable at an emotional level.
Because trust has been broken.
Yeah, yeah. What we get more curious about is that what is it that the person who went to have an affair, what is it that they could be, could express, could live with the person they had the affair with, that they did not feel able to bring into the relationship for some reason or another. Like why did they have to take certain aspects of themselves outside to share it with another person, rather than finding a way to saying, this doesn't work for me, and I want to feel more like this, that, and the other. Something has broken down at a level of emotional communication very often. Yeah? So the affair in itself is a communication. Yeah.
Now, oftentimes, one of the partners, if it's a man having an affair, he might say, well, it was just sex. And actually, we weren't having enough sex in the relationship. On gender level, that never was, or it rarely works from a woman's perspective. Yeah, because for a woman's perspective, there's always a reason why there isn't more sex. There isn't sex because in a way she's not feeling met emotionally or in the heart.
Also, if it was only sex, then a woman would often feel like, but if you only want sex, then it could be anybody. Yeah. What about me? I'm not special at all. Yeah. Why can't you have it with me, but with her? Yeah. If you only want sex, who am I then?
So, do you see a difference when the man has been unfaithful or the woman? Is there a difference very often?
Well, classically there's differences, but you know, there's a way that women are becoming more like men these days, in terms of you know, acting out outside relationships much more. But often, if you know, classically, if a woman went outside to have an affair, it would be because she wasn't getting met emotionally, and she would, you know, we hear about people who find guys who will listen to her, listen to the woman. You know,
we did have one couple a couple of years ago where the woman had an affair with a man, and when finally the man, with some help, went around and actually asked her a question he'd been afraid to ask her: why did you do it with him? She said, because he listened to me. She said, I didn't actually go to have sex with him, but he listened to me, and therefore it felt natural for me to share that part of me with him.
Because very often we find that the listening has stopped in the relationship.
They stop talking.
Yeah, they stop talking, or
Stop listening.
stop listening, stop being curious about each other. This is very easy in an intimate relationship, to stop being curious about each other. And then actually the desire goes, and goes elsewhere.